Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. What is it with people thinking it's okay to put their hands on anyone at all? The sheer number of stories about people grabbing the OP and spinning them around is incredible. Finally, someone gets punished for being a demanding butt. Thanks. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. I must have one of those faces. Not today, Satan. I've been mistaken for an employee more times than I can count. Doesn't matter the store, time of day, what I'm wearing, someone will ask for help. My fiance didn't believe me at first, but now that we grocery shop together, he's noticed how often someone will ask me where something is or if such a thing is in stock. A few times I can reason away as a stranger asking another stranger for help. Most of these cases are little old folks who just want to get their stuff and leave or can't reach something high up. Other times I put down to having a generally friendly face despite my best attempts at developing a RBF, rude bitch face. More often than not, it's some moron who doesn't give a gall darn what plebe helps them, only that they need help right now. This is the third type. So I'm in the store, I have a basket over my arm, and I'm checking my list when dude walks up very close to me, no mask, and asks if I can call someone to the sporting goods area. I'm in the plumbing area, wearing a dress and sandals and my very cute Pikachu mask. I'm used to responding to strangers' demands for help and politely tell him I don't work at the store, but I just saw an employee one aisle over that should be able to help. He stares at me long enough that I'm beginning to suspect he didn't hear me. I go to repeat myself and his face goes full-on dark red. Y'all know where this is going. He does his little rant about how he needs help and is it really so hard for me to take a second and walk to the counter with him, and I shouldn't be on my phone at work anyways. Again, I've heard it all before in some way or another, so I just roll my eyes and walk away. Big mistake, apparently. He grabs my shoulder and spins me around so fast I drop my phone in my basket. I'm not a big person, and I have some history that makes this not a good idea on dude's part. Some warrior spirit takes over my body, and as I grab his fingers and wrench them back while releasing a primordial scream that would have sent every demon scurrying back to hell, he tries to jump back, but I bend his fingers so quickly I feel the knuckles pop, and he's looking wide-eyed between me and two now limp fingers on his hand. I too am stunned at what I've done and don't move. Remember that employee one aisle over that could have helped? At some point, probably after I screamed, he came to investigate and is suddenly right next to me asking what was going on. Dude's cradling his hand and yells, "She broke my effing hand!" I'm starting to feel my anxiety and embarrassment flare up and quietly pick up my phone and basket from the floor. The employee is radioing the manager, and I just start putting my stuff back in my basket. Dude's yelling and won't let the employee see his hand. I stand back up and wait. For what or why, my little brain doesn't know. I've reverted back to a 10-year-old who's been sent to the principal's office. The manager summons the police officer who's been staking out our grocery store since lockdown. Manager gets dude a mask and brings the first aid kit while the cop asks what happened. Statements are taken, dude is calmed down, and I'm asked to wait in the manager's office. I'm stuck in there for close to 3 hours until the officer comes in to ask if I want to press charges. Stunned, I quickly say no without thinking. Not that I would press charges, but even hours later I'm embarrassed and feel like I'm in trouble. She says, "All right, I'm free to go." Turns out I was assaulted and defended myself, per the security footage and the employee that was one aisle over. He had heard me and dude talking and then dude yelling, then my tiny girl voice ring out a defiant tiger roar, so he backed up what the video showed. I had dislocated 2 of dude's fingers and somehow had dug my nails into his hand enough to draw blood. He'd been told in no uncertain terms I did not work there, and WTF was wrong with him for grabbing someone like that. Even if I had been an employee, he would have been in serious trouble, and he was lucky I didn't want to press charges. To quote the wonderfully funny John Mulaney, whose comedy specials I binged when I got home that night, so I grabbed my stuff and I left. Edit/update. My fiance has always agreed I should press charges. We got a little pushback at the police station, but I had a big, strong man to sass back on my behalf because girls are always exaggerating, and we got the responding officer to back me up. My man let me handle everything and only spoke up if someone interrupted or obviously wasn't on my side. I mostly want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone again, and if it does, that there's an established record of behavior. I guess I thought this was just another funny story, but the fact that it isn't funny to me yet, despite a few weeks passing, made it clear further action was needed. Thanks all. Stupidity should be painful, and good on you for defending yourself. And our second story. Sometimes it's best to let mistakes be mistakes. But sure, we'll get the payroll issue corrected for you. For a brief moment in time, I was an interim sales manager at a marketing company. Some background. Sometimes, especially in our retail space, clients would want to spend a lot of ad dollars in a short time period, i.e. Black Friday sales or what have you. Generally, clients would like to arrange for the ad campaign months in advance of it actually being installed. This also gave the client the option of spreading their ad spend over several months. Say a client wanted to spend $10K for a 3-week run-up. Well, if he started out, say, 5 months ahead of time, we could just bill them $2K a month for every month, and they get to spread out the spend. When deals like this came up, salespeople would have the option of getting 30% of their commission advanced, or they could wait until the contract was installed. If they got an advance and the customer canceled, they would owe their advance back as a chargeback. Really good salespeople tended to just say, screw it, pay me when it goes live, and mediocre sales reps tended to take the advances. Cue Joe. Joe was a mediocre sales rep. Joe wrote a deal that was worth about $2,400 in commissions, and Joe decided he wanted an advance, so we cut Joe a $720 check and said the rest would be paid out when the account installs, as we called it. This was before I was interim sales manager. I became interim sales manager, and the month I became sales manager, the account Joe had written canceled the deal for reasons. Joe was set to receive a $720 chargeback. At the same time, this was end of quarter, and based upon Joe's performance, he had earned himself a $2,500 bonus. Commission statements came out, and Joe came to complain to me about how his commission was wrong. He pointed out that his bonus was supposed to be $2,500, but he only got $2,300. They forgot his review bonus. I looked at his statement and noticed the $720 chargeback was missing. I sat down with Joe and said, hey, look, I can ask Payroll to fix your bonus and get you that extra $200, but Payroll also forgot to charge you back $720. I think it's best we leave this be, because you're actually $520 ahead. Joe got upset. I think he felt like I was trying to rip him off. I really wasn't. And I said, Joe, if I ask Payroll to fix your commission, they're going to notice you didn't get the $720 chargeback. They'll give you the extra $200 for the bonus, plus take $720 back, so you lose $520. Yes, your statement's incorrect, but it's incorrect $520 in your favor. Joe and I had some back and forth, and I was finally like, all right, Joe, I'll go to Payroll and get your issue fixed. I go to Payroll, point out the error. I didn't bring up the chargeback. I was kind of hoping Payroll would just not notice that, but they did. And Payroll emailed me back and said, thanks for pointing out our error. We'll give Joe an extra $200 for his review bonus, and we'll also be issuing the $720 chargeback for the lost account for a net adjustment of minus $520. So I forwarded the email to Joe and said, congrats, Joe. Payroll will be paying out your $200 review bonus. However, they're also going to charge you back $720 for a net adjustment of minus $520 on your next pay statement. To which Joe came into my office in a bit of shock and said, so they fixed my pay and now I lose $520? I go, yes, because they forgot about the chargeback, right? I go, yes. He bows his head in disappointment and goes, I should have kept my mouth shut, shouldn't I? I said, yes. He goes, can we just tell them to leave everything as is? And I go, nope. And he goes, F. And I go, sorry, Joe. And he goes back to work. And our last story. The HOA wants to shut down my business. Land of the free, they say. That is until the HOA was created. I'm a first-time home buyer and bought 2 years ago in Mesa, Arizona. During COVID, cash buyers from California were waving briefcases of cash around all the way to the front doors of houses I had offers at. When we got an offer accepted after what could only be called a gauntlet of beatings, we were giddy. It was the perfect home by the Salt River. When we first moved, it was apparent that we may have overlooked one little thing. The HOA clan of potatoes and their trusty sidekick, Dingle Angelo, the manager. We were given notice and threats of fines for our moving trailer. Next week, it was the boat that was out front for 24 hours while we cleared out the garage of moving boxes. It was then for charging my truck battery with the hood half open for a night in my driveway. I guess let's get into it. I'll try and make it brief. I set out to start a little side hustle. First thing I did was read the book of HOA F All. It was apparent that there were not any rules about business operations, so I set sail. I even asked the HOA manager, who responded, "If it's in your garage, you're okay." I run a kayak rental business out of my garage. House is 4 minutes from a river. It started as a side hustle, but turned into a potential jump to my dream job. It's an appointment only, and people are in my driveway for a brief period and are staggered. The house 2 doors down is a tax professional, and my neighbor runs an Airbnb. There are multiple examples of other businesses being run in the community. It becomes increasingly apparent that the HOA C-word clan and their sidekick manager, I'll call her Angelo, do not like what I'm doing. They sent what my buddies and I would call HOA spies to inquire about rentals in our process. These potato spies would then say, "Are you sure you're allowed to do this here?" To which my response would be, "Please show me specifically which bylaws I'm breaking." This would usually result in a slight red face or, our favorite, the blank potato farmer stare of madness. This worked for a little while. Knowing that I knew little about the laws, they decided to harass us for anything and everything. This went on for months, and we held our ground and fixed each of the frivolous patty cake agenda bullcrap claims and violations they threw at us. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.